Welcome to CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the 1993 NCAA Tournament. Coming your way tonight, doubleheader action from the Midwest Regional, beginning with top-seeded Indiana taking on the number 4 seed Louisville. St. Louis, Missouri is the site, the gateway to the West. Sitting hard on the banks of the Mississippi River, and one of these 4 teams hopes to make the trip just about 700 miles down the Mississippi to New Orleans, the last stop on the road to the Final Four. Tradition abounds with these 4 schools having won a combined total of 10 NCAA championships. Good evening, everyone. I'm James Brown. As you take a look at the brackets here, some awfully competitive matchups. Should prove to be a nice evening. And after tonight, only 2 teams will remain here in the Midwest Regional for the chance to move on to the Final Four. I bring in my partner, Billy Raftery. And Billy, it's good to see you again, partner. Billy, this first matchup between Louisville and Indiana pits 2 of the more experienced minds in college basketball in Bob Knight and, of course, Denny Crum. But the experience of Bob Knight really seeming to pay dividends. Many people thought they would not be alive this long, especially without Alan Henderson.
Well, we'll see Alan Henderson tonight. Bobby Knight says he's ready to play. But the reason they're able to perform at such a high level is Calbert Cheney, the bump and go. You'll see side screens, down screens, re-screens, summer screens to keep the defense away. And the ability to get free without the basketball is a facility that this youngster is able to perform night in and night out. All the action, the little weak side exchange, and able to complete. He's extraordinary without the basketball.
You've got me smiling already. Louisville always plays good basketball come March, but you know, one of the reasons they're playing so well, having won 8 straight, is the fact that Denny Crum finally has someone who can shoot the 3.
Well, they push the basketball up and they'll cross-court it, and Dwayne Morton able to nail that open jumper.
All right, so the stage is set, and we are about to kick off here. When we come back, we'll introduce you to the starting lineups for tonight's contest.
The available anti-lock brakes on the new Geo Prism can help you negotiate driving hazards during hard braking. And every new Prism comes with a driver's side airbag, which we'd also be happy to demonstrate. But you've seen all that before. Besides, why ruin such a beautiful car? Get to know the newest Geo Prism at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
If you're arrested, you'll get a lawyer even if you can't pay. Does that mean you'll get justice? An all-new 48 Hours, Wednesday.
What's the difference between a marriage counselor and a chiropractor?
Basically, it's the same thing. They mess with your head and tell you to come back.
Shelley Long's pals have all the answers.
Joey, how many years have you been cheating? She cheated on me first.
Are you not going to kick him?
It wouldn't solve the problem.
That depends where you kick him.
Good Advice premieres Friday, April 2nd.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Semifinal game is sponsored by Geo, inviting you to get to know the newest Geo Prism, only at your Chevrolet Geo dealers. O'Doul's, no alcohol, 70 calories, and real beer taste. O'Doul's, what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer. And by AT&T, the right choice.
Back in the arena in St. Louis, you know, most people are familiar with the accomplishment of Bob Knight, but you may not know that Denny Crum has a winning record against Knight. He's 4-2 against Knight's Hoosiers. Tonight, he's expecting a big effort out of Clifford Rozier against the limited availability of Alan Henderson. Now, the Hoosier coaches say it's not how many minutes that Henderson plays, it's how effective he is, and they want him to hit those defensive boards. JB?
All right, Leslie, thank you very much. And as we mentioned, 2 experienced minds indeed. Old war horses for sure. The starting lineup tonight. Bill Raftery, as you take a look, anything that can be exploited in this lineup?
Well, Clifford Rozier has to play strong. Take it at Matt Nover.
Cheney controls the tip for Indiana, and this is Greg Graham.
In Louisville, man-to-man. You'll switch on exchanges, small guy to small guy.
Cheney inside to Nover, and Nover goes up and scores. Indiana on the board first.
Multi-dimensional. Cheney with a great bounce pass.
These 2 teams have met 13 times previous. Indiana leads the series 8-5. This is their first meeting, though, in NCAA tournament play. And there's the three, nailed by Greg Minor.
It surprised a lot of people that don't see them, but it gets them right in their organized press. This time, 2-2-1. They'll show a lot of different looks.
Damon Bailey with the ball. Bailey, free throw line, off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Keith LeGree, the best ball handler for the Cardinals.
Nice post pass. He's got to go strong.
And Rozier double clutches. Rebounded strong by Brian Evans, who gets the start tonight.
Indiana has a lot of pace in their game, JB.
More than most people would expect.
But Bobby's known for the defensive ability, but they push it up and they're at their best when they're in the open floor.
Bailey, Brian Evans, Calvert Chaney, Greg Graham, and Matt Nover, the five on the floor for Indiana. Graham. Out three for Greg Graham, and boy, has this young man stepped his game up. I guess that's pretty much indicative of the entire Indiana squad as we take a look at the officials for tonight's contest. John Clockerty, Frank Scagliotta, and Gerald Boudreau. And Billy, again, Indiana players really have stepped up because of the injury to Alan Henderson.
Well, each one of them has been asked to do a little more in the scoring category, particularly Greg Graham, a prospect now for the NBA, guy that they didn't talk about early in the year. Little post up, Morton on Bailey.
LeGree. And rebounded by Smith. Off the foot of Morton. This is Graham. Nice fake. Counts the basket. And a blocking foul is called on Greg Minor.
Wow! Open floor basketball. Louisville can't afford to turn it over. They've got to value the basketball. They've got to get in the hands of LeGree or bad things will happen for them. Right here, this step in as Graham anticipates going to the sideline, able to complete in the middle of the floor. But he's one of the guys that has the loose gun in the open floor for Bobby Knight.
An excellent indication of the NBA type of moves you were talking about. Greg Graham, the Big Ten's defensive player of the year.
It looks like you in your Harvard days a few pounds ago.
Like 60.
Nice pass.
Emphatic by Troy Smith, but a nice dish.
Troy shoots about 55%, and you can just see the reason why on that finish.
An 8-5 ball game. Hoosiers on top, just underway here at the St. Louis Arena. A building steeped in history when you talk about the NCAA tournament, and we'll talk more about that. Chaney slips, but collects himself and scores. Such a composed ball player.
They use the pump fake more and better than most clubs in the country. That's an example. Faked himself out on that one. The UCLA look, the shuffle cut. Try and dump it inside when possible. Ducked in by the post people.
Off the front of the iron, but Smith, good aggressive hustle. Billy, when we talk about some of the strengths of this Louisville team, so many of their guys can post up effectively.
Well, the size of them is an ability that's been shown in this tournament. They all have the ability to screen down and lock their guy. And Denny Crum and staff are surprised at this team. They just kept getting better and better for them.
Troy Smith, 6'8", the senior. And the lefty way off the mark. My goodness, up high as he banks it in. And, you know, he'll tell the guys, I intended it that way, but he's trying to keep the smile down.
You get a half for that one. But to beat Indiana, you got to take away the penetration. You've got to make sure you kick. Do some things on the defensive end because you've got to communicate. There's screens, there's bumps. You've got to talk to one another.
And, Billy, I'm still smiling about that free throw because we all know as ex-players when a guy certainly didn't intend that. Unless it's effective.
And what Louisville can do is when they do penetrate, eliminate the help with that kick for the three-pointer.
Nover has simply stepped up his game and become a lot tougher on the inside. Mostly you think of him on the defensive end, but he's scoring nicely on the offensive end.
Well, that 2-2-1's not going to get it done for Louisville.
Morton.
You'll notice how big they are in the front here, JB. Indiana's very good at getting a post-up guy. They got Chaney in the middle or going down the sideline and turning it into a goal if you don't retreat.
Not an awful lot of heat on that full-court pressure that time by Louisville.
So,
12-9 ball game, 16-15 left in the first half. Indiana on top. This is Bailey. Strip. And Chaney. Cheney gets the loose ball, and he's fouled. As we take a look at the previous possession, Indiana, no real trouble with this press here.
Well, deployment's important, and Knight's been around enough to find people and get him in the right spots. But as you get it over the timeline, your corner guy has to attack the goal. Nice finish by Nover, but it's being in the right spot and being confident enough to do it. Take a shot at Bobby there. He doesn't have to plan ahead packing-wise, does he?
Consistent wardrobe, huh? Smart move, if you will. Into the lineup for Louisville, number 11, James Brewer, the 6'3" senior guard, replacing Greg Minor.
One of the things that Louisville has to do is rebound and push before Indiana's defense gets set, and then they've got to use good judgment. The other area of concern, they've got to lift their offensive people, JB, because then they eliminate the help defense of Indiana. And they do run 4 across the foul line on occasion.
14-9 ball game, Indiana on top. Now Brewer with the ball, and certainly everyone knows the story there. Brewer suffered a concussion in round 1 against Delaware. Smith goes up with the lefty shot, but Brewer bounced back in game 2 with 26 points in 25 minutes, and he's back healthy. There's some heat on defense, but nice move by Cheney.
Evansville, huh? Out of high school, everybody wanted him. Ron Felling kept saying to Bobby Knight, I think he's the best I've seen. Well, let's go back and take a look at him. He ends up in Indiana, and we showed on the open his ability to go without the ball. Individually, the press opens up his game. It favors it, Cheney. He doesn't have the traffic. He can use the pump fake, shoot the shot, or take it to the tin.
Already selected by many publications as the college basketball player of the year, first team All-America, and plays within the context of the offense.
Well, you better.
Have to.
Robert
well
usually gets his way.
And right now he's having a discussion. Now he pointed to the clock on top of the backboard, and it seems to be in sync with the overhead scoreboard. 15:37 remaining.
Now he's moving gingerly, by the way, JB. I saw Bob before the game, and his back is bothering him. Probably sitting there watching too many tapes. Part of the dilemma, they're not sure what caused the problem. I don't think it's from jogging.
And we're trying to read the lips and the body language as well.
Hey, JB, think of this. In 80 and 86, Louisville won the national title. Guess who won it the following season? Both times. That man right there. Came back to win it.
And one of the things I believe that Bobby Knight may be talking about, Bill Raftery, is you take a look at either end of the arena up high. Those scoreboards have been incorrect at various points throughout, keeping the correct score. So what Knight has been told is to go by the overhead scoreboard right over the court here. That has the accurate score and time.
And the officials, for the only time tonight, drew a smile.
And a quiet conversation. Does not distract Cheney as he drops in. The points, 16-11, Hoosiers.
Lately, another 800 service has been promising to save you a few drops in the bucket over AT&T. What they're not telling you is that they lose 50% more 800 calls. Calls take longer to get through, and the other company is twice as likely to have a network outage. Now, when you think of all the sales you could lose if you don't have AT&T, their promise doesn't hold much water. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
Now at Goodyear, you can save 50% on the second tire when you buy one tire at the regular price. That's half off Goodyear Premium All-Season Radials for cars and light trucks. Any way you look at it, you save. Only at Goodyear now.
Are you getting the return you'll need on your retirement savings? Perhaps the one thing worse than dying is outliving your money. Call Prudential Securities.
We treat those trucks like we're going to buy each one. We build them like we're going to buy the next one coming off the line. We build. a world-class truck. At work, they like to see things done right, just as much as I do. We care. We care what we ship. We care what people buy. Because if we didn't care, they'd never be back. It's checked and double-checked and rechecked. You know, they go over that thing inside and out. I feel sure of what we're building, that I'm not afraid to go up and ask anybody what they think of the product. The final product. And their sets, you know, running, they can drive it. It's beautiful. It's just nice. It's a good feeling. And I know if that truck's got that decal on there, I must be doing my job right.
Chevrolet, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
The world's greatest magician attempts the ultimate escape. How will he survive a 10-story plunge into a raging inferno? The magic of David Copperfield, Tuesday.
At the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select the Chevrolet Players of the Game. In conjunction with the award, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. And, Bill, I guess to throw out another nugget here in terms of strategy tonight, interestingly, Louisville would like to play an up-tempo game.
And Indiana, not bad at that end of it either. It's what they do on it here. The half-court set. If Indiana's set, good aggressive rebound. They need more of that on misses.
And the basket will be credited to Clifford Rozier, being battled by Matt Nova.
Now, if Rozier had the mentality of a real fierce low post guy, it would be a distinct advantage. Smith more like the low post guy on the block as he took Evans earlier.
Nova at the high post on the wing. Always moving. Cut by Graham, moving without the ball, as you mentioned, Bill.
That's the real problem. If you're used to a normal pattern offense, as Louisville has seen most of the year, this continual bumping frees people, and you get tired making the cuts.
Brewer for three. And Brewer has been warmed. Really, I talked about Brewer sustaining that concussion going after a loose ball in round one. Athletes, being the sensitive lot that they are, realized when he came back the second game he was in a zone, but they were smacking him upside the head. Can you believe that?
Players said they were going to hit him in the head, but the ability to down screen, find people, the little curl, no post guy, and no help by Louisville. And Graham turns it over. Not typical of him.
Back to Louisville. Legree and Brewer in the backcourt.
Here's that 2-3 look. They use the post guy to rub the defender off as they cut. Cheney out on Brewer.
Rozier out high. Has the quickness advantage.
Look at the help by Indiana.
And the little things that cause the problems, the turnover goes to Indiana, so you don't have to necessarily steal the ball every time, and Denny Crum knows that all too well.
Well, they're also switching Indiana, as Louisville will. They'll exchange partners, stay in an area, but stepping over to help that time, Cheney caused some of the problems.
You saw the numbers from the field. 6 of 7 from the floor for Indiana, highlighting the fact that they take excellent shots, Bill.
Some pretty good perimeter shooters. Not the kind of entry pass you'd expect.
Morton behind Troy Smith. Bad pass. Inside to Graham, and Indiana makes Louisville pay.
That's the advantage Indiana has. Louisville will run and have empty trips. They'll make mistakes. Indiana, conversely, will come up. If they don't have a good fast break, they'll back it out and run their half-court action.
Greg Graham, 4 of 4 from the floor for Indiana. It's a 20-16 lead by the Hoosiers. 13 minutes left in the first half of play.
I know you're sitting here saying, why don't you take advantage of Morton? Nice little penetration by Rozier because the defense backed off to help Bailey on Morton. He's got a few inches on Damon Bailey.
Rozier, the transfer from North Carolina. Bailey inside to Nova. Rebounded by Rozier, the Metro Conference Player of the Year. Brewer, way off the mark.
Skimmer.
And ahead to Cheney. And it goes back to Louisville.
Well, if you don't hit the 10, bad things usually happen to your club.
Like throw out the timing of the break, huh?
Everybody's their hands are up. You're making cuts. You go, what happened? At that time, Indiana trying to convert. Didn't do a good job.
LeGree, Brewer, Rozier, Smith, and Morton the 5 for Louisville. This is Brewer. Indiana doing a nice job collectively blocking out. This is Graham. Numbers to Cheney, and Cheney is hammered from behind by Morton. Calvert Cheney will take it to the free throw line. And, you know, Bill, many people don't think fast break when you talk about Indiana. We mostly think defense first, but this team can run.
Well, when Bobby Knight was at Army, you had a salute just to walk on the floor. They didn't run at all. Now, this club is a better basketball team because they push. They understand what's a good shot. If they don't have it, they'll bring it back up, bring it back out, and run those intricate little screens.
Changes in the lineup as Greg Minor comes in for Louisville, as well as Derwin Webb. And you see that Florida State Western Kentucky game already in progress. Pat O'Brien, Mike Francesa, and Digger Phelps in the studio, and they will dip in on that game, as well as the other game taking place in the Southeast Regional later on between Wake Forest and Kentucky.
You notice Scooter McCrae in the background there on the bench. What'd you tell me he was voted in Louisville?
One of the top 15 dressers in Louisville.
I figured they had a push to 15. It's normally 10.
Expanded the list.
Indiana with that traditional man-to-man. Always looking to assist as Henderson in the game. You're going to have to make him work defensively. Take him away from the goal.
From the corner. Give the credit to Greg Minor.
And that problem was because Henderson couldn't exchange people. Pat Graham got caught.
Tie ball game with 11:40 left in the first half. Pat Knight, Greg Graham, Calvert Cheney, Matt Nover, and Alan Henderson in for Indiana. And Cheney doing some damage on the inside, and he's hammered.
Great look by Nover.
Calvert Cheney, despite his slim physique at 6'7", 209, does damage on the inside. .11:31 left in the first half of play. A 21-21 all ball game. Calvert Cheney at the free throw line for Indiana. He's got 7 points. Make it 8. James Brown along with Bill Raftery and Leslie Visser coming to you from the St. Louis Arena. Midwest Regional action.
And Louisville half-court offense has become important. They're not getting the open floor opportunities, JB. Got to pound it in.
We've got a break in the action. Hoosiers on top by 2.
Jim was going where no man had ever gone, into the darkest jungles of Malaysia.
Did you find it, Jim?
Yeah.
Thought you could use a cold one.
Great. Ice cold O'Doul's. Not alcohol, and hey, only 70 calories. Just right for a true adventurer like Jim. Jim was going where no man had ever.
When you want the refreshing taste of beer without the alcohol, think O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer.
Choosing your first new car sure can be complicated. There are cars that promise you safety. Cars that are well built and well backed. Cars that won't leave you stranded. Cars that give you a break on the price. Even cars that help with your down payment. But Chevrolet makes it easy to get all of the above in the Chevy Cavalier, the lowest priced car in America with standard anti-lock brakes. Test drive Chevy Cavalier today at your neighborhood Chevrolet dealer.
This is Larry. This is his package. While Larry sleeps, the UPS Total Track system works round the clock. Tracking any air or designated ground package. It even records the recipient's signature. So now, anytime, Larry can get the status of his package in seconds. Larry doesn't work around the clock, but his delivery company does. UPS, the package delivery company more companies count on.
This is a Gold MasterCard, okay? Sure, it's got a credit line of at least $5,000, but it won't settle any unresolved issues from your childhood. Well, maybe it could. I mean, no Gold card is more accepted on the planet, so you can take your parents to dinner practically anywhere and say, Mom, Dad, you raised me. I owe you a steak. And it might be smart to buy them a grandfather clock to replace the one you demolished when you were 8. And if this one gets broken, the Master Purchase Plan can replace it. So, I guess a Gold MasterCard could resolve some childhood issues. Wow, Gold MasterCard. It's more than a Gold card. It's smart money.
Raven,
Raven comes to the aid of an old friend's daughter to stop an assassination.
I'm going to try to do this without killing.
In a deadly game of love and death. Raven, Saturday.
The pomp and circumstance of an NCAA tournament as we take a look at the pep band here. And Alan Henderson in the game, the young man who has an anterior cruciate ligament damage, Bill, but yet he's playing.
And playing, the few minutes he's playing, he's trying to contribute a little bit. He's going to have to help inside just a tad on the glass. Nice step through by Rozier.
And a good block by Alan Henderson. That's what he brings to the game.
Stepping up big. Nice move by Rozier, though. Pass and cut. You don't see a lot of wasted motion, and they only dribble if it's constructive.
Matt Nova, Greg Graham, Pat Graham, inside to Cheney for the slam. Over Rozier. I think that qualifies as nasty, Bill.
What a hold off, and then they pass the basketball to the correct hand to send it in to top it off.
Not a lot of body English needed after that as Cheney breaks up the play. It goes off of Webb over to Indiana.
Alan Henderson, you mentioned in the game, able to contribute. He's not himself. He's not the offensive contributor that they would like. But I think if you just give him a couple of minutes in a game, it'll rest the big people, save them for the stretch.
And a play like that will certainly heighten his confidence. Kept working until he got Rozier to leave his feet. Patience.
If that were a fine bottle of wine, it would have been opened quickly. I mean, he kept screwed himself into the floor.
27-21, Indiana. They better get some wood shavings to fill in down there.
That's what you have to do. They'll go cross-court against Indiana. They help so well.
And that was an indication of how Alan Henderson cannot go up high for the rebound because of the knee.
Keith Legree has to organize, get them in the flow, look for others. That's when they're a better basketball team.
9:45 left in the first half, and Henderson with the steal. And Henderson with the travel. Well, Billy, clearly the mobility is not there, but the smartness is still there.
Yeah, mobility is lacking, but what happened when he came back? We were in town in Bloomington, and they had a little meeting about, well, you know, Henderson's struggling. He might not play. And Bobby Knight said, well, some rebounds he didn't get. Took a couple of bad shots, Cheney said, and threw up a couple of air balls. And Knight said, how'd we win with them?
What a smart way to diffuse the emotional down associated with the injury that took place in practice back on February 19th.
What a great job by Morton with the penetration. You've got to pinch or create problems for the defense. They've got to make decisions and then kick. And that should be Louisville's strength.
And the open shot nailed by Keith Legree.
This is the time they're trying to guard these guys.
Grant is awfully quick, spinning past the quick hands of James Brewer for the shot.
He had a spin dribble against Xavier for a kiss shot that drove Al McGuire up a notch or two.
Graham is perfect from the field, 5 of 5.
See the help, all the white shirts in the 3-second lane. You've got to make the defense go side to side. Nice post up by Rozier.
Morton kicks it out to the corner, back to Rozier.
Louisville making them work, though.
And look at how Indiana closes the driving lanes, Bill, as well as the passing lanes. They have a guy in there helping out. Under 10 on the shot clock.
Look at the help and the recover.
Outside shot by Morton. Oh. Well, he'll take it as well.
Well, that's an unexpected kiss.
I don't know if that qualifies as a kiss or a slobber. 29-26. Indiana on top, 8:05. Left in the first half of play. The top seed and the top-ranked team in the country. Indiana taking on the number 4 seed, Louisville.
Louisville expending a lot of energy trying to keep up with the bumps. You've got to switch, communicate.
And here's some patience on the offensive end by Indiana. And we talked about key being defensive patience by Louisville. Good help out. Nover in and out. Legree for the Cardinals. Ahead to Brewer. And Brewer.
So now that's not a good one.
That was a 2-on-3. That's why it wasn't good.
You've got to have good self-control, discipline against Indiana. You push, try, and then get organized.
And again, we underscore part of the reason why it wasn't good is the 2-on-3, but a good defensive play ahead to Brewer. Now, this is good.
Excellent. They're all set up by the D. They've attacked. They've pressured the pass.
A one-point ball game. Hoosiers on top. Chaney.
That's good.
That's clutch.
What do you want, Coach? I don't think Bobby has much to say to him, do you?
Not at all.
Just like Quinn Buckner, right? Just go play.
In and out for Legree. Chaney with the rebound.
What did John Chaney tell us last year? Speed kills.
Absolutely.
That's when you run away and don't get organized, or you take that quick shot. Same effect as a turnover.
And a three by Pat Graham.
Legree was up, too. The scatter report was there. Just the size differential.
Morton harassed by Graham and Henderson inside to Rozier.
Look at the double. You got to find somebody. Got to cut. He's dead if they don't step. Look at this in the passing lane. Great bailout.
Morton blocked by Chaney, and a little whooping taking place. They certainly are not discussing the state of the stock market.
They'll have a double technical, if I'm not mistaken.
But what you're seeing also is a collective toughness of Louisville and Indiana. That is an embarrassing play when you go for the slam and a guy takes away your manhood, if you will.
Don't you love Morton, though, challenging? You know it's going to come. You got to go up. Let the clothes hang out to dry. Calvert up big time, and this is a war of words, and at home I usually lose that one. And Dover stepping to the assistance.
Well, that's about all Morton could do, because in fact the play said it all. The block by Chaney.
John Clark getting everything organized.
And we'll see how they sort it out. Now, of course, we all know that there is an emphasis this year on taunting.
Making sure it doesn't lead to worse. A lot of meetings of the minds tonight.
But quite candidly, Bill, as an ex-coach, you certainly can appreciate the kind of competitive response by Morton.
Oh, it was delightful to watch. And you look at Crum there. He could go winless the next 3 years and still win 20 games. There were many years I went winless. And right here, the cross-court bailout pass, then the Morton cut, and that's just great basketball right there. And how much do you have for your per diem? Does your coach take you to the better restaurants, or do you have room service?
So a technical foul assessed to Morton. And a technical also to Chaney. And again, that would be consistent with the rule.
There's great challenge. I don't know if Bobby's saying there wasn't a foul on it. They start out at 2-3 Louisville, and it ends up with a postman low. And then out of that, JB, the double up occurs when it does go to the post because they had some problem defending it. And a great cross-court look by Rozier. And that's going to set up their three-pointers.
Now the fans are screaming because, again, Morton, there was a personal foul called as well on Chaney.
Well, law school may be the case for both as they argue their ability or inability face to face. And both of these guys will probably face the nation sometime with their ability.
Coach, you're feeling it. And so is Greg Graham. He's stroking it.
So they take care of the technical business.
As far as Indiana was concerned,
Morton shot the personal free throws. Now this is Brewer shooting the technical free throws at 89%. You can see why. It's amazing that he could recover so quickly after that accident. Tough kid.
A tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
There are cars with advanced engineering. There are cars that make you comfortable. There are cars that are well protected. There are cars that protect their occupants well. There are cars equipped the way you want. And cars that are easy to own now. Which one should be your new car? All of the above. Chevy Lumina Euro Sedan. Test drive a Chevy Lumina Euro today at your neighborhood Chevrolet dealer.
People that first come to Subway are a little surprised we don't have sandwiches ready, just fresh bread. That's so you can see your sandwich being made and tell me if you like onions, tomatoes, or even hot peppers. I'm not a mind reader, and there's lots to choose from. If your sandwich looks as good as it tastes, that's because Subway has a training center where experts like Mr. Pilchin teaches the art of making beautiful sandwiches. He calls himself an art teacher. I guess that makes me a sandwich artist.
Ask a sandwich artist to make you a 6-inch tuna sub, just $1.89 for a limited time at Subway.
Now wait. Introducing the Polaroid One Step with a sharp new look.
No, you make me wanna grab Polaroid, throw your hands up, flip your head back. Come on now, let's share a smile now. We're all together now, everybody's jumping now. Grab Polaroid.
If you want to pick up the fun, pick up the newly styled Polaroid One Step camera and plenty of film, because when the film runs out, so does the fun.
Polaroid, you know you make me wanna shoot.
May I help you?
Oh, I got right through. Yeah, here's what I need.
4 tickets.
I need
2 tickets. How many tickets?
2 tickets, 7, 8 o'clock, 5.
Center up.
Yeah.
That will be fine. Thank you.
Right.
When tickets for the largest concert tour ever held in North America went on sale, Ticketmaster relied on Sprint's 800 service to do the job. Hey, if Sprint can handle all this, it can certainly work for you, too.
You are watching the NCAA Basketball Championship on CBS.
37-32, Indiana on top of Louisville. 5:39 left in the first half. And by way of housekeeping, let's review again. There was a personal foul on Cheney, fouling Morton. Those are the free throw shot, as well as simultaneous taunting fouls, which are technicals. And Bill, when you have simultaneous technicals, as we take a look at the three from the corner by Greg Minor, how do you determine possession?
Arrow.
Absolutely.
And that was Louisville's, and they're heating it up from deep.
And keep in mind that those technicals also are personal fouls. They count toward personal fouls.
Larry, good shooter in the game. Patrick Knight.
Strong rebound by Nover. And follow.
Now, people who haven't seen Patrick Knight play, the turnover, again, one that's sort of unforced. And Denny, how often I did that myself. Scratched my eyebrow on occasion. But Patrick Knight, a good passer. Gets the ball to free people. Leary, a good stroker. Evans, a good stroker on the outside.
Not a particularly good pass as it goes off the hands of Nover and over to Louisville. So the 5 on the floor for Indiana, Damon Bailey, Pat Knight, the coach's son, Todd Leary, Nover, and Brian Evans.
Now, Louisville feeds off their defense. I mean, they're a terrific defensive team, but I think Indiana has to be patient. Don't kick it in and be in a hurry. Make Louisville guard.
Take Rogers, Brewer, Smith, Morton.
And Morton's got the foul, too. Evans and he doing a little
And that is the third personal, if it is on Morton.
I'm not so sure they got the right guy. Morton posts up. Evans does a little rumba on his derriere here.
Oh, the push-off.
And initiates the contact, but they're trying to clean that up. They have been all year long. And that's number 3 because they counted that technical
Absolutely.
as a personal.
That's an unsportsmanlike violation, and of course that is a personal.
That's the killer with that rule. Many night at home, I wish I could call an unsportsmanlike.
We'll leave that one alone in the family hour. 39-35, Hoosiers on top.
Here's a little motion now, the first time this game by Louisville. Traditionally, that 2-3 front with a high post.
Tick Rogers with the ball now. 6'5" freshman guard for Louisville. Across court to Brewer. And Brewer, nice shot. In and out. Rebounded by Evans. Indiana doing a good job on the boards.
Solid. Well, they're usually one and done.
Smart play on the inside by Greg Minor. Tapping ahead. Rogers. Circus shot is good.
When you turn the ball over and it kicks out high, you've got the numbers, the response defensively, not in neglect, but tardy. You can't recover, get in good balance.
Tick Rogers, Mr. Basketball in Kentucky last season, making the adjustment from forward to guard effective there.
Way back before the Pathfinders, before the Explorers, even before the Cherokees, there was Blazer. Now the first sport utility vehicle of its kind offers you all this and the performance of a 200 horsepower V6. You can spend thousands more on something else, but there's only one way to get the experience of a Chevy Blazer, the vehicle that originated the species.
For all of you with the courage to go it alone, to put your future on the line and your name on the door, there's the corporate card from American Express. Use it for all your business expenses. We'll organize them by category and even provide records of charges. It's a great way for any company to get a handle on costs. Call 1-800-SUCCESS. The corporate card to your success.
I know basketball. I used to ref the pros. And out here, well, sure, this is not as serious. How can it be? But with no uniforms, no coaches, no announcers, and especially no referees. How real can a game be with no referee? I mean, next thing you know, someone catches an elbow. Who's going to call it? See? Blatant lane violation, no call.
Want to run all your software fast? Then look for the Intel Inside symbol on your next computer. It says you've got a real power source on the inside. Like the upgradable Intel 486 microprocessor. Power it up and run your software at light speed. Intel, the computer inside.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, along with my partner, Mike Francesa, and Digger Phelps here in New York City. Good game there. Also a good game going on in the Southeast. Florida State in gold, trailing Western Kentucky by a point. Western Kentucky took its first lead of the game just moments ago, Mike Francesa.
At 47-46, Pat. Florida State had an 11-point lead in the first half, built it by getting inside. Digger in the second half. Douglas Edwards has foul trouble for Florida State, and a little too much Mark Bell for Florida State also.
Well, you forget your inside game. Mark Bell's going to take this game over for Western Kentucky, and that's what's going to bother Florida State more than anything else in this half.
Three guys talking hoops here in New York City. Going to give you a big taste of that game at halftime. Meantime, let's go back to James Brown and Bill Raftery out in St. Louis, fellas.
All right, Pat, and we're talking hoops here as well as Matt Nober scores on the inside and is fouled. He'll take a trip to the free throw line. It's a 41-38 Indiana lead with 3:28 left in the first half as Chris Reynolds and Greg Graham come back into the lineup for Indiana. And Bill, you wanted to make the point why Calbert Chaney, who was in fact starting to take over this game, he's got 14 in the first half, but he's on the bench.
He's got the 2 fouls, and Bobby trying to steal some time, get into the second half with him with 3 to play with. There are many no-nos that used to be taboo. One was never enter the ball to the box from the top. Larry just made a great bounce pass for an easy deuce. So forget those old rules, JB. Step up to modern times.
Oh, no, if you violate it, you got to make sure it works.
You were out or ran. Here's that double and triple. You got to kick it out. It's going to give open shots.
Now, if the inside-outside game works like that, then that should free up things for Rozier.
Well, Denny Crum said they never had the shooters. That's why he disdained the use of the 3. He's got them now.
Brewers got 10 in the first half. Cardinals trailing by 1. Short by Greg Graham. Tick Rogers with the rebound.
They all give a
cross court to Brewer.
Right? They all give the cushion to help out on the post pass. You're going to have to make these.
Rogers. A very unorthodox looking shot, but the guys say he is accurate with it. Reynolds, Greg Graham, Matt Nover, Damon Bailey, Brian Evans, the 5 on the floor for Indiana in white. Bailey rebounded by Smith. Ahead to Brewer.
Pretty good defender right here. Nice crossover.
Blocked partially. Bailey with the loose ball. Indiana with the numbers. Graham.
Nice handle by Bailey. Graham. The rest. Rather simple. But on the defensive end, you've got a pretty fair guy pressuring the point now.
Good game going on everywhere. Triple overtime affair in Division II basketball. Tight one down in the Southeast region, and of course a good one here.
Rozier has so much company down there. They're going to have to make outside shots to release the pressure.
Nover with yet another rebound. He's got 3 in the first half. Indiana's on top by 3. 1:25 left in the first half of play.
Motion, flare-outs, curls, post-up, you name them, and all in 1:45-second thrust.
Bailey open and scores. Bailey's 3 makes it a 6-point lead.
Here's that sort of stacked look, almost like a 1-4 look.
Rozier, one of the few times he was free to penetrate the lane.
Great call by Denny Crum. He hadn't been able to do much damage. Bring him out. He's got the foot speed to blow by. Matt Nover.
Rozier averaging 15 on the season. He's got 6, 33 seconds left in the first half of play.
You got to contain your own guy on the dribble penetration now, if you're Louisville. If you have to pinch, there are good open jump shooters.
The Hoosiers started with 10 on the shot clock.
Great.
Reynolds runs into Brewer. Charge, Reynolds.
Jimmy getting the puppies up and down.
Reynolds is quick, but not that quick, giving away that much of a cushion. As we take a look at the tournament summary, George Washington, first Sweet 16 appearance. Their first appearance in the tournament in 32 years. All 4 #1 seeds still alive. And good hustle by Evans, and Evans comes away with the ball.
You got to watch a back screen and a loop to the goal. Larry coming in to give you another stroker for Reynolds.
That's Leary.
I don't know if there's probably Nover will take it out. Let's see. They got to get one guy to take it out. They got Evans, so eliminates one shooter from the floor. Catch and shoot. Defense has to be ready.
Bailey tries it. Scores a 3.
You have to stay awake. That's what all the coaches tell you. A little screen, square up, and Demon Bailey nailing it.
That's the end of the first half with the score: Indiana 50, Louisville 43. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Semifinal game is sponsored by U.S. Postal, 2-day priority mail service from your post office. Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by Intel, giving you compatible power to run the software of today and tomorrow.
It's tough to keep ahead of the competition. You gotta move fast to stay on top. You need 2-day priority mail. In 2 days, we deliver 2 pounds for only $2.90. If the competition's new rates are just too much, visit your post office to send 2-day priority mail or call 1-800-USPS for your free starter kit.
We deliver for you.
Well, what do you think?
I think I feel safe in that car.
What about the money?
What about the lease?
Yeah, it's a good lease. Could you really see us in a Mercedes?
Definitely.
The win-win lease is available on selected Mercedes-Benz models. Visit your authorized Mercedes dealer for details.
Nothing tops the passion and intensity of March Madness. So why not relive this year's tournament action with the official 1993 NCAA Championship video by calling 1-800-999-VIDEO. It's all here, from the excitement of the opening rounds to the drama of the Final Four. That's 1-800-999-VIDEO to get your copy of the 1993 NCAA Championship video and share the glory with this year's champion.
This is CBS.
The Home Builders Association invites you to the Town & Country New Home Tour 93. This weekend, you have the chance to tour 47 new finished homes in many of our area's exciting subdivisions. They're all over town, and there's no admission charge. Pick up your free Town & Country plan book at any Scott's, Rogers, or Cub Foods. This is your last weekend to see what everyone's talking about. The Town & Country New Home Tour for 1993, this Saturday and Sunday.
Like your new Lumina?
Absolutely. How's your new Taurus?
Well, I'm glad I got the optional anti-lock brakes.
Good idea. That's standard on my Lumina Euro.
Well, a guy like me needs a lot of room to move around.
Too bad. The Lumina has more head, leg, and shoulder room.
Yeah, but you got to look at the whole package. I mean, I got a lot of car for the money.
Yeah, you did. So did I. The Lumina's over $1,700 less. Worn out?
No, just worn down.
Stay fiscally fit with Lumina from your Northeast Indiana Chevy dealers.
CBS Sports presents Prudential Securities at the Hash. Sponsored by Prudential Securities. The most important thing we earn is your trust.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, along with my partner, Mike Francesa. Digger Phelps joins us from his golf outing in Tucson.
Sure.
74% Indiana's shooting. They got it all working for him tonight. We'd like to chat, but there's another game going on right now down in Charlotte in the Southeast Regional Semifinal. Florida State and Western Kentucky, a 1-point game. That's going out to Dick and Al. Dick Stockton and Al McGuire. Fellas, you're on.
Western Kentucky is leading Florida State by 1 point. And Darius Hall is on the free throw line, having missed his first free throw. And it's a 2-point lead with 12:47 to go in the second half. Dick Stockton, Al McGuire. Here at the Charlotte Coliseum, we were tied at 40 at the half after Florida State led by 11 at one time. They've been a little cocky when they came out tonight.
Well, I think now they're setting up for the half-court offense. They don't have the fast break. They're being a little bit more patient.
Charlie Ward, the Heisman Trophy favorite, obviously hampered by the injured shoulder. Ward has scored only 2 points and has 2 assists.
Cassell should go one-on-one right now.
He leaves it behind to Ward with 8 seconds on the clock. Mark Bell trips him going in, and Bell looks to take the worse for wear on that one.
Their knees hit, and that's just kind of sore when you do that.
That'll be the first foul on Bell.
There's a spin. Now watch right there. See where the two knees hit?
That was Western Kentucky's 16 fouls, so the next foul will be 1-1 for Florida State. Sura will inbound. Bob Sura tonight has scored 13 points. And on the turnover, there's been plenty of those in this game. Florida State has turned the ball over 14 times themselves. Western can open up its biggest lead. Darnell Meade, their leading scorer. Wild shot. We've had a lot of those too. And Chris Robinson got the rebound. It'll be Western Kentucky's ball.
So you want me to grade these? You sure? Just plain flakes. I don't think you want me to do that. Try them. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. These are good. You know, they're simple, and they're crispy. Hey, I like them plain.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes. I almost flunked Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Taste them again for the first time.
Just because you got 2.3 kids. Just because you got a house, a lawn, and a mortgage. Just because you're now a responsible adult. You still know how to have a good time. Don't you? The new Grand Am Sports Sedan.
To be a college athlete, I have to be a leader. I realize that all my actions affect my teammates and friends. If you use drugs, quit. Don't follow the crowd. Be a leader. Don't use drugs.
If you or someone you know needs help or information concerning drug abuse, call this toll-free number, 1-800-662-HELP. This message provided by the NCAA.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, in partnership with the NCAA, provides funding and facilities for the National Youth Sports Program. Now in its 25th year, NYSP offers economically disadvantaged youngsters important experiences in sports and enrichment activities through summer programs at NCAA colleges and universities.
Based on the true story of a doctor that had 3 wives.
I'm gonna wear you out.
All at the same time.
I don't wear out.
Bo Bridges, The Man with 3 Wives, Sunday.
Western Kentucky Hilltoppers lead by 2. They had some injury problems during the year, didn't have enough guys to practice, so they had to woo some walk-ons, including members of the football team, just to, you know, make it so that the team could practice. But Florida State, in their own right, had a lot of injuries this year. They lost Chuck Graham and Andre Reed, and we mentioned Charlie Ward's injury problems and Dobar's hairline fracture of his toe.
You know what, Dick? I never call a team a Cinderella team until they get the Elite 8. Now, if Western Kentucky gets to the Elite 8, they then have a glass slipper, and they got to go to bed before 12.
Just like we do. Charlie Ward goes to the bench. He's had a tough game tonight, 2 points. And Derek Carroll replaces him. So Cassell and Sura, the 2 guards, and Byron Wells, sprained thumb and all, gets the basket to tie it at 55 with 11:30 on the clock.
I'm surprised they stay so long with Charlie Ward. He was sitting out there the whole evening.
Short. Robinson, foul. Chris Robinson, who's not a good free throw shooter at 65%, will try it again. With the score all knotted up, and the personal foul will be on Wells, his second. 4th team foul against Florida State, and Western Kentucky has 6, so the next for Western will result in the 1-1 for the Seminoles. Here's Chris Robinson from Macon, Georgia. Well, a lot of outstanding players have come from that town.
You know, I used to coach at Belmont Abbott College, and we went down to Macon, Georgia, to play a college down there called Mercer. A long time ago.
I'm sure you beat them every time.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have booked them.
Yeah, on the road for sure.
Good rebound by Wells.
One free throw. Western leads by 1. Sura pulls up for the 3. Out of bounds, same way. Western Kentucky knocked it out of bounds. It'll be Florida State's ball. Sura will inbound. They got Sura, Jobard, Wells, Cassell.
Edwards is not playing because he has 4 personal fouls.
And Carroll is the 5th man for Florida State. And they're going to call the offensive foul against Sura, who has been scoreless in this half, and that's 4 on Bob Sura. And I have to say this, Al, I mean, you've seen these teams practice and you've seen them play this year. Florida State's in trouble here. 11:03 to go, and their big guys are in foul trouble or not producing.
They're statistically in trouble with the one guy, the quarterback, being hurt, and 2 guys with 4 fouls.
Sura has not scored this half. Edwards and Sura each with 4 fouls. And a little starch has been taken out of the Seminoles. Long-range shot by Robinson misses. Dobard. Where would they be without Rodney Dobard's 16 points? But Western gets it back.
2 careless with the ball. Seminoles that time.
That's been their Achilles heel all game. And the bank shot by me.
And with 10:29, 10:28 left in the ball game, we'll go back to this game if it remains as close. A 3-point game now, and Mike Francesa, Florida State, this is not the team they wanted to meet tonight, I think, Western Kentucky.
And for them, Pat, this is now the Western Kentucky team that will not go away. Edwards and Sura, 4 fouls apiece. Ward hurting. Florida State trying to rely now on a perimeter game when they should be getting the ball inside, and give Western Kentucky coach Ralph Willard a lot of credit. He has slowed the game down and gone to more of a half-court game against Florida State. It's worked very, very well.
I think we saw a turn in this game about 2 minutes ago, 58-55, and as I said, we'll keep you up to date throughout the evening on this game. Meantime, Indiana-Louisville, it's a 7-point game out in St. Louis, Midwest Regional Semifinal. We'll have that after a commercial and a word from your very own local station.
CBS Sports presents Prudential Securities at the Hash. Sponsored by Prudential Securities. The most important thing we earn is your trust.
The Grand Am's great. Well, what happened to the Accord? Yeah. I found out what the Accord really costs. With air, automatic, anti-lock brakes, $19,500. Whoa. Huh? They weren't talking to me. Really? Wow. The Grand Am, they don't give that away. Air, automatic, standard anti-lock brakes. Yeah. $5,000 less than the Accord. 5 less? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what that means a month? Got me into a new car. What are you gonna do with the money? Eat.
Loose-fitting jeans. A loose interpretation of the original.
A place of secrets.
We live in a world without norms.
You are happily married.
Totally.
A neighborhood like no other.
Something's funny here.
What's happening to this community?
On a night known for drama.
This is weird.
Jimmy getting shot is no coincidence.
Comes the season's best new drama.
We've got a hostage situation here.
I'm gonna get you.
We'd like you to be our boyfriend.
Why couldn't you let it try?
Beginning April 1st, Picket Fences moves to Thursdays.
This is CBS.
This is Autumn Ridge, the most beautiful Northwest development, where nature never sleeps. Make Autumn Ridge your home. For information, call Colonial Development, the very best.
Jim? New windows? Looks great, huh? Pella windows? Yeah. Didn't you go to the Pella window store? Who needs them? They got Pella certified contractors for that. Who needs them either? And they would have helped you with that, too. Oh, yeah. Pella would have helped you pick out the right sizes. Yeah, right.
Pella? What is that number?
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Semifinal game is sponsored by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by Meta, the maker of reliable copiers and plain paper fax machines that increase business productivity.
Packed house here at the St. Louis Arena. The Hoosiers on top by 7. And for a strategical review of the first half, let's check in with Leslie Visser.
JB, the Louisville coaches are happy with the way they shot the ball. They hit 50%. They see two problems. Offensively, they'd like to reverse the ball, get some outside shots. Defensively, they put so much pressure on stopping Indiana's three-point shot that they gave up the inside to Graham and Chaney. They'd like to do a better job there. JB?
All right, Leslie and Bill, I guess that goes back to the point that Indiana really does have an effective inside-outside game. Let's take a look at that.
Well, when you look at the shot chart, you see the ability inside to score, which sets up your outside game. And you think of the penetration as well. In here, you got all the makes, and then around the line, the ability to nail threes.
Back to live action. Greg Graham handling the ball for Indiana. Matt Nover, Damon Bailey, Calvert Chaney back in, along with Brian Evans, the 5 for Indiana in white. Chaney was on the bench with 2 fouls, had 14 first half points, but that man with the ball, Greg Graham, strong half, 16 points.
Once again, the patience, the cutting, good deal. Oh,
and Morton came up with the steal, and that's a pretty aggressive play by Morton, who has 3 fouls. And Billy, I was about to ask you, do you think Morton, what kind of player is he? Will he play a bit more tentative, or does he have to go out and play aggressively?
Well, offensively, he's always aggressive, and he really understands how to take advantage of his guy, particularly with the bounce and that deep shot. But I don't think I'd fool around that far away from the goal.
The foul was called on Nover, his first, inside to Morton.
They finally go at him with Bailey. He had post up early.
Strong grab by Troy Smith, and Smith is fouled as he goes up for the follow. And Boudreau has a foul called on Nover. That's his second.
Well, the big guys call it a rack, and you have to attack the rack. Here's the post up early on. Bailey at the size differential. They empty that side so you can't get the assistance. But get after it, fellas. Get those red shirts on the 10.
A little bit out of the vocabulary of our good friend Clark Kellogg.
Yeah, oh, did he have a day? I loved it.
Troy Smith off of the back of the iron. As you take a look at Denny Crum, 22nd year at Louisville.
When you get it in that close, all of a sudden your offensive rebounders can push people under the glass, and you can attack a little bit better.
And attacking is Greg Graham, and Graham is fouled by Legree. And Billy, I guess the point that I wanted to make about Louisville at the free throw line, a serious Achilles heel, only shooting 66% on the season, and that's one area Denny Crum would love to attack. They've gotten better with the threes, but boy, do they need to attack that area.
And then you look at Indiana, and consistently able to double the output of the opponent on the free throw line.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they'll challenge people. You'll see the numbers, the ability to take guys to the goal. Look at the amount of makes. 482, 648. Unbelievable. But did you think you'd ever see an Indiana team with Bobby Knight having a guy go solo like Graham just did? But you better get to the foul line.
At all.
Over the years, he's adjusted. Modern day hoops.
Rozier. Evans with the rebound. Biggest lead of the ball game for the Hoosiers. 52-43. Trying to add to it. Bailey kicks it back to Graham. And Graham off the mark. Rebounded by Minor.
And not back.
Oh, my goodness. Undercut that time was Morton. And Graham will be called for the foul.
Greg's mad, but it was just the foot that actually hit him. He tried to run on by, but the contact threw Dwayne Morton off. This is the kind of opportunity Louisville has been salivating for. Get it off the glass, turn, kick out, and right here as he turns under, you see the foot just enough to jar and throw the shot off.
Inadvertent contact. And you mentioned about Louisville trying to get into the up-tempo game. Only 5 fast break opportunities in the first half that yielded 4 points.
Been forced to a half-court game.
And Bill, I guess the obvious question then, if it becomes a half-court game, on balance, who does that favor?
Well, you would think Indiana, but if Louisville's able to find the reverse, able to dribble, penetrate, do those things on the offensive end, if they jam up on Rozier, and then they can get it done as well. Constant motion. I mean, both of us would be out of the game with a respirator.
Oh, easily.
Guarding these guys, you know, they down screen, you say, okay, I'll relax. Then they up screen, then they back screen, then they re-screen. So you never get a chance to relax and concentrate on help and position.
You get tired just thinking about it.
Oh.
Inside pass by Evans, knocked away by Legree.
And one of the other facets of Indiana, it's down to 13 on the shot clock. They will run it down when forced to and have poise at the end to get or select the proper shot.
And that is mentally frustrating to the defense.
Where's Bailey?
And Hopgood taps it ahead. Morton comes up 1-on-2. Rebounded by Minor. And Indiana comes up with the loose ball. An example of not finishing the break properly by Louisville. And Chaney on the line. John Clockerty got him.
That happens often when you step back for the 3.
As we take a look at Bob Knight, his 22nd season at Indiana, he and Crum both tied for 8th among current coaches for the longest tenure at their respective schools.
And Evans with a problem with his hand, maybe a dislocation as the doctor attends to it, will sub Henderson so that they don't have to call the timeout.
Alan Henderson in limited duty in the first half was pretty doggone effective, Bill. Got a block shot.
Got out in the break. Not as tentative as when we were in town.
We were there when he sustained it in practice on the 19th of February. Strong move by Rozier.
Spin out, drop step. Gorgeous.
Only the 8th point of the game for Rozier and Bailey. Nice stop and go move by Bailey. He can't convert, and Henderson keeps it alive. Out comes Morton for Louisville. To Legree, and blocked by Graham. Clean.
Fantastic. Going after it. Both ends, everybody attacking the glass. Bears the backcourt. Good passing here. The jump stop, but Greg Graham never stopped. Full tilt.
And Morton trying not to stop, but can get the drop. Nova with 5 rebounds. Chaney rebounded by Rozier. This is the game that Louisville wants, up and down. But good transition defense by Indiana.
And this is good intelligent play right here. If you don't have it, make them guard a little bit.
That's what you call a good basketball decision.
And then in the exchanges defensively, little switching, subtle thing. Now Graham on Morton.
Morton really working hard, getting some decent shots, but they won't drop.
And Graham a little bigger, able to negate the attempt. Chaney never gets tired, JB. I mean, that's like a John Havlicek or I guess a Bill Bradley during your era.
Marvelously conditioned athletes, you're right, just ran you in the ground. Bailey back to Chaney. And Calvert Chaney continuing his scoring onslaught. He's got 16 points. Chaney averaging 22 on the season, but 26 in postseason play.
And James, that time he took a bad shot the last trip, a little deep, waited for the offense, got himself into a good scoring area.
54-46, Indiana on top. 15:45 left in the game. Morton. And finally he gets one. And boy, look at the sigh of relief. 3 of 8 from the field for Dwayne Morton.
Damon Bailey uses those hands and legs as well as anybody. Pushing and banging Morton. That was a gorgeous kiss.
Bailey, as we well know, played a lot of center as well in high school, so he can post up very effectively and is strong. Legendary career in high school. Graham can get his own rebound. A loose ball.
That had to be slapped. I don't think he could have re-dribbled.
Obviously was touched. You're right. Nova, less than 10 on the shot clock. Greg Graham. Rebounded by Morton. Morton working hard. To Rozier.
Good
and
job.
Rozier scores.
Real solid. You know, Morton reaching back, fatigued, but yet able to make the proper judgment.
The Cardinals have fought back to within 4.
They've got Louisville standing up big, though. A lot of guys jammed in the 3-second lane the last trip. Not down. Rozier not in a stance.
Rozier a little winded, too, Bill.
Troy Smith up big. They make you get to your knees.
Bailey. Tap in by Cheney.
And underneath, he was just too big as Legree, who had switched, couldn't check him out.
Legree. Back of the iron. Snatched by Cheney.
Cheney got away with a right out.
Loose ball. It'll go to the Cardinals. Timeout on the floor. Hoosiers on top by 6.
Why do people really like Toyota Paseo? Take this home lie detector test. I like Paseo because A, it's practical, has a driver's side airbag, or B, women dig it. A, it has 100 horsepower performance, or B, women dig it. A, Paseo starts under $11,800, or B, women dig it. Paseo, a very practical car from Toyota.
There is a sound you can hear above the music, the sound of German being spoken by those whose passion is to live life. In your town, America, and the world, Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
Both Visa and American Express Gold cards can get you to England for the golf vacation of your life.
Charlie, how did your yank do? Well, we're up on the 9th sea, and he wants to be up in 2, so he puts everything he's got into the shop, including his new graphite driver.
But should you have a stroke of bad luck, only Visa Gold can get you back on course, because Cape Cornwall's only pro shop doesn't take American Express.
Keep a grip on it.
Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
More and more Americans are discovering that if they spend half of what some other top brands cost, they can buy a Murray, the best quality mower for the money. It's backed by a 2-year warranty and over 8,000 service dealers. That's made Murray one of the top sellers in America. And for the price, one tough, dependable mower. From walk-behinds to riders, even a complete line of mulchers, Murray is always tough as they come.
These days, people who want to save money on lunch are brown bagging it. Because McDonald's original hamburger is still just 59 cents. Our delicious cheeseburger is 69 cents. And that is no baloney.
Meet Amber. She's a superstar, but she isn't popular here. What would you do if a strip club opened in your neighborhood? Street Stories returns next Thursday.
Pat O'Brien and Mike Francesa, Digger Phelps of New York City. A couple of good games going on right now. Mike Francesa, a 2-point game now down in Charlotte.
They go back and forth. Western Kentucky has been able to maintain the lead. We're at the time of the game now where the point guards and the foul shooting Digger will come front and center.
Florida State horrible. 12 for 26. It's going to cost them the game. Watch Mark Bell. Even though he's got his 4th, he'll take control, penetrate, get to the foul line.
Horrible as they might be, it's 65-65 right now. A good game, and if it stays close, we'll take you to the finish. Let's now go back to JB and Bill.
All right, Pat, back here. It's 13-12 left in the ball game. 56-53, Indiana on top. Matt Nova with the ball back to Calbert Cheney. Greg Graham, Alan Henderson, and Damon Bailey, the 5 in white for Indiana. And Nova steps out of bounds. It'll go back to Louisville. And Bill, when we went to that break, as we take a look at Bob Knight, Louisville needed that timeout to collect itself, not because of the racehorse style of play, but because of the extended defensive series that they've been involved in.
You expend so much energy just to keep up with the cuts and the bumps and the screens.
Rozier.
They got an offense. He leaned in. Now Rozier is somewhat frustrated, but he had been able to dribble to ecstasy in the first half, that time trying to be creative. He had a nice drop step, but he initiated the contact.
And Denny Crum sees Rozier pick up his second personal with 12:47 remaining. Pat Graham in for Indiana, and for IU fans, Brian Evans is okay. Slightly sprained thumb you saw when he went out. He is expected back.
And he can shoot it.
And he does. Short. Rebounded by Minor.
Tough matchup with Smith down low on Graham if they take advantage.
IU, good job of getting back as a team on defense. Rozier double team, having to work hard for the shot.
Not a good one.
Not at all. Tried to draw the foul.
Indiana will raise you up the floor a little bit so there's room along the baseline.
Nice pass inside to Nover. High percentage shots, as we talked about, Bill.
While you're running over with Nover, thinking he's going to screen, he locks low, and Cheney acknowledges.
6 of 8 from the field for Matt Nover. 5-point Hoosiers lead. Inside, nice pass from Rozier to Brewer. And Brewer has 12 points on the evening.
If Louisville is patient, kick it around, I think they can get a lot of things done.
Well, that guy right there can get a lot of things done.
In fact, some nights you can stick a fork in it.
Oh, my goodness.
He gets you so well done.
6 of 7 from the field for Calvert Cheney. And plenty more to come your way, including the finish of the Western Kentucky-Florida State game. We mentioned that marquee matchup with Rogers of Wake Forest, Mashburn of Kentucky. Here it's Rozier of Louisville dropping in the basket. He's got 12.
Nice call because Derwin Webb stepped up. They couldn't get the backside assistance.
And Bill, here's an example of what we're talking about, having to be patient on the defensive end, but an extended defensive series can make you tired as well.
Extremely fatiguing. And they're not going to take bad shots, so you're going to have to play. Now you really have to get tougher if you're Louisville. The last 15, you can't relax. Great job by
Good hustle by Rozier. Now that was excellent hustle. The frustrating part is that it's still Indiana ball.
He did what?
If this reminds you of the level of productivity in your office,
Bonehead.
there's something you should know.
It is. Who got the paper stuck in there? I just put new paper in. How'd you do this?
Buyers Lab gave every Mita copier they tested their highest rating for uptime. So if you want a more productive office, get a Mita. Call 1-800-ABC-MITA.
If you think you've seen some steals tonight, wait till you visit your Oldsmobile dealer. Because you can now get a Cutlass Sierra with a V6, air, cruise, tilt, AM/FM cassette, and driver's side airbag for just $14,995. Don't push your luck. It's your money.
Tan was feeling a bit one-dimensional. Gotta be more to me than just plain old tan, he said. And Dockers agreed. So from khaki to chamois, Sahara tan to bamboo, we uncovered every beautiful shade tan had to offer. Tan was ecstatic. Said, I'll never work anywhere else. And maybe he won't. Nobody does tan like Dockers.
If there's a problem getting your 800 calls, AT&T guarantees to reroute them within 5 minutes to another phone, even if it's in your home.
Hello, Sam Salmon.
In Nome, one of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
Hocus pocus.
it seems everyone is offering financial advice. We put our faith in research, analysis, and experience. Prudential Securities. The most important thing we earn is your trust.
In the city,
help me, please.
There are crimes of passion. Will 4 cops make a difference?
I think he's innocent.
You bet they will. Bodies of Evidence, April 2nd.
Pat O'Brien in New York, a thriller going on in Charlotte in the Southeast Regional Semifinal. It's a 1-point game now, 1:01, a minute and 1 tick on the clock. Florida State leading Western Kentucky 68-67. We're going to send you down to Charlotte. Dick Stockton, Al McGuire behind the microphones for what could be a surprise finish.
For Western, it won't be his last. Darnell Mee, the leading scorer for Western Kentucky, is fouled out of the game with 21. He's a senior. And Western, with a minute and 1 second left, trailing by 1, and free throws coming up.
They lose a lot with him going out. He deflects balls all the time, Dick. Every time down, they get his hand on the ball and deflect it.
There is the story with the foul trouble. Hall, Brown, and Mel have 4. Mee is out of the game. Edwards and Sura with 4 for Florida State. And Chris Robinson, the freshman from Macon, Georgia, has replaced Darnell Mee in the lineup for Western. So Sam Cassell is on the free throw line. He's hit 4 of 5 from there tonight.
He's usually very good under pressure. In the last 2 years, he's won 5 games to the last shot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him bury these 2 because he's concentrating right now, I believe. Now they need this one here to get the 1 possession. They need a 3-point spread. So for Western to win, they need have to get the ball twice in the next minute.
Each team still has 2 timeouts remaining.
Oh, it did a lap around the rim and came out.
And Chris Robinson, the rebound. So the lead is 2 now. There's the clock. 36 on the shot clock. Bell misses a 2-point attempt. Robinson gets the rebound, puts it back up, and ties the score.
I'd call a timeout and brings it over half court and set up for the last shot. They can work it down to 6 seconds.
And a timeout, you're right, Coach. You've been there before.
We'll keep you up to date on the game. Let's go back now to St. Louis and James Brown and Bill Raftery.
All right, Pat, and back here in the St. Louis Arena. The Hoosiers on top 65-59 with 8:24 remaining in the contest, and Calbert Cheney continuing to light up the scoreboard. He's got 23 points in the game. At the free throw line right now for Louisville is James Brewer.
Indiana is so good at twisting and turning you. Rozier gambled. He ended up in the open floor with Cheney. He's got to stay at home, but they're exchanging people, and the matchup isn't conducive for Louisville. So they've got, I don't think they should switch as much as they've been doing it lately.
Todd Leary coming in for the Hoosiers, replacing Greg Graham. And Bill, we've talked about this so much. Indiana, as you look at the players individually, they don't scare you in terms of a guy being so overly athletically talented that he could hurt you, but they play so well as a team.
I know you didn't coach against him. That's why you're saying that.
Oh, no, I played against him, and he smoked us as well, too. Rest assured, I know.
You know, the strain between these 2 coaches, success stories, they're both great teachers. I was a teacher also, but more of the homeroom type.
Keeping the troops together, huh?
Here's the cross court. Let's see if they'll switch now as they make exchanges. Here's the down screen exchange.
Constant movement.
Cheney now with Smith to duck in.
And
nice
Bill,
post pass.
All high percentage shots in the lane.
Well, when you're switching, you never have the footwork to deny an entry pass or to deny the post-up, to duck it.
Indiana up by 7, 7:43 left in the game. 2 teams fighting for the right to move to the regional final here in the Midwest on Saturday.
Now here's the traditional Louisville look. Shuffle cut, dip in on the other side, and look at all the help.
And Morton has to back away and gets the basket, but as you mentioned, a lot of help. All the shots contested.
Larry, to me, brings a lot of excitement to this club. Not afraid to drill the deep one.
unbelievably accurate at the free throw line, a 93% free throw shooter.
Now look at the match here. Oh, it's the smaller guy. Minor ends up on Cheney.
25 for Cheney, still with 6:48 left in the game. Hoosiers up 69-62. Morton.
Trying to do it on his own. Got to relax, let it come.
Graham into Cheney.
Two guys stopped the dribble. Nobody played the cutter.
Billy, plays like that serve the purpose of a boxer with a lot of jabs. Toward the end of the fight.
So you're bleeding.
Starts to wear you down. Absolutely. The sting starts to leave.
Well, they don't have the inside game now. They're relying on the deep shot by Brewer. Come down, get organized. Let them touch it on the box. At least Indiana has to turn and look.
Bailey, Leary, Pat Graham, Matt Nover, and Calvert Cheney, the 5 in white. Calvert Cheney added up 29 points, 9 of 12 from the field for a hot Calvert Cheney. And Denny Crum wants to talk it over.
With the penetration, JB, all the attention on him as he goes airborne. The great self-control. I know you would have stroked that deep one, but he drew the D with the pump and the ability to bounce.
All right, let's go back to Control Central, back to New York and Pat O'Brien.
All right, JB, thank you. Excitement going on all over the country. Mike Francesa out in Charlotte, a tie ball game with 24 seconds left.
Florida State out of timeouts. They had to call it because Western Kentucky, they got him in a trap right now. And that was a big play there because they got him in a trap. Now Florida State trying to get that last shot of the game.
So if they're fouled, could be an adventure. Edwards very nearly lost it. He's trapped.
Plenty of time left. Wait about 4 more seconds. Wait now 3 seconds. Now go, young man. I would go right now. Go, young man.
Cassell.
There he goes.
Lost his footing. The shot off the rim. And the shot from the corner. No good. We go to overtime.
OT. Beautiful college game.
Ralph Willard's Western Kentucky Hilltoppers Cinderella will go past midnight in this Southeast Regional Semifinal.
All right, so they go to overtime at 69-69 down in Charlotte. Western Kentucky, Florida State. A game we'll be watching for you all night. When we'll go back to that game and bring you up to date on that. Meantime, the game out in St. Louis, 5:25 left on the clock. Indiana leads 73-62. JB and Bill Raftery. James.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. And it has been the Calvert Cheney show. First half, Calvert Cheney, 14 points. And that having sat down, Bill, for about 6 minutes with 2 personal fouls. And he scored 15 of Indiana's last 21 points. Simply a marvelous show. Minor. And the rebound goes to Indiana, to Pat Graham and Billy. Again, little indications when you start to get tired. Shots off the front of the rim slightly.
That was a good shot. They haven't been able to get good ones.
But fatigue, nonetheless.
Yeah, they are tired. They've got to get it inside and then out. I think it might be a little easier for them. This is the end that's gotten them fatigued. Got a little, let's see what they got here. Got a little triangle like that, JB. Trying to take Cheney.
Go ahead.
Trying to take Cheney and Graham out of the game.
Good hustle by Legree to come up with a loose ball.
Here's where good things can happen. Step in a little bit.
Nothing tired about that shot.
Well, what he did well was when the ball went in, he didn't stay in the same spot. He spaced over 2 feet, so Graham couldn't return quickly. Well, diamond in 1. Cheney being guarded by Keith Legree.
And the patience there offensively may benefit Louisville catching its breath.
You can drive the gaps here. You might get some baseline jumpers out of this.
Nova down low, backs outside. And Leary does the damage inside, back to the outside.
He didn't throw the overalls up, but he spotted up beautifully. That's a gamble. The box and 1, a lot of open areas against a good shooting team.
3:30 left in the game. Indiana on top, 76-65. Morton. Cheney with the rebound. 6 rebounds for Calvert Cheney to go along with 29 points.
As they come up, it opens the corner. Dribble the gap at the elbows, and you got the kick to the corner. They overload one side, leave Cheney on the other, being matched up with Legree. Late in the game, too. Gonna have to decide to come out and play them at some point. Slipping away.
Indiana patiently working on the offensive end, playing the clock. 2:45 left in the game, 5 on the shot clock.
Trying to get them into man-to-man.
Greg Graham. Rebounded by Troy Smith. 2 teams battling for the right to move to the Midwest Regional Final on Saturday. And, of course, it all is aiming for a trip to New Orleans for the Final Four. And we've got a break in the action. Indiana on top by 11.
A tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
Isn't it amazing how quick and agile these big guys are? You should test drive the 88 LSS by Oldsmobile. It's very agile. But don't take our word for it. Take Car and Drivers. The 88 luxury sedan, only from Oldsmobile. It's like grace under pressure. It's your money.
Well, there ain't no doubt about the power of glue. It's got the airborne thrust of a rocket fuel. Get out of that. We know we see all the men you have to be, just how much you give, all the lives you live.
From Gillette Sensor Technology comes the Gillette Series. Shaving, aftershave, and deodorant products to help a man look, feel, and be his best. The Gillette Series. With Gillette Sensor, it's redefining men's grooming.
You are watching the NCAA Basketball Championship on CBS.
Indiana has tied its biggest lead of the ball game by 11 as you take a look at the numbers on this game here. Indiana blistering from the floor. doing the job still from three-point range, and Calbert Chaney has been the man doing the damage.
Well, they've calmed him down with the box and one, but it's opened up other opportunities. They're going to have to score, get in their full court denial, gamble a little bit, and pressure man-to-man after half court.
Morton rebounded by Smith. And Smith with the foul. We'll talk strategy now, Bill, with
right here,
2:10 left.
Like here, I would trap and make them do some things quickly. Force them in, possibly do some mental mistakes. Shoot quick, stop the clock.
And that's exactly what Troy Smith does, fouling with 2:02 left in the game. Indiana on top, 76-67. Rozier and Brewer back into the game for Louisville, replacing Webb and Troy Smith.
You come into a game against Indiana knowing they're lean up front, particularly with Alan Henderson not able to contribute as he did all during his career. And yet Louisville not a backcourt violation here. John Cloughney right on top of it.
Louisville with a minute 57 left, trailing 76-67.
I think John's saying that he caught it in the back and came over. Bobby may have a good argument, but he doesn't have a whistle.
There's some who say he does.
In a way, he does control them. Now, Indiana's idea is to force him to take tougher shots and make them use the clock via their defense.
And Brewer stops the clock by fouling Calbert Chaney, a 79% free throw shooter on the season, but still fouls to give. And Indiana has some excellent free throw shooters in there. As I mentioned, Chaney at 79%, Pat Graham at 76%, Leary at 93%, so certainly the move for Bob Knight.
Number 4, I believe, on Morton. They're just trying to get themselves in position to give the fouls down the stretch. Pretty heady move.
And plenty to give. 14 fouls for Indiana, 5 for the Cardinals.
That's the disadvantage of not fouling early. They caused the timeout.
And a timeout called by Calbert Chaney with 1:43 left.
I know basketball. I used to ref the pros. And out here, for sure, this is not as serious. How can it be? But with no uniforms, no coaches, no announcers, and especially no referees. How real can a game be with no referee? I mean, next thing you know, someone catches an elbow. Who's going to call it? See? Blatant lane violation, no call.
Drive to work. Drink bad coffee. Sit in dull meeting. Sit in really dull meeting. Skip lunch. Handle new crisis. Postpone vacation plans. Drive home. Not a bad day. The new GS.
It's tough to keep ahead of the competition. You gotta move fast to stay on top. You need two-day priority mail. In 2 days, we deliver 2 pounds for only $2.90. If the competition's new rates are just too much, visit your post office to send 2-day priority mail or call 1-800-USPS for your free starter kit.
We deliver for you. Mommy, what are you doing?
Well, sweetie, where Mommy works, some people are losing their jobs.
Eric's dad lost his job and they had to move.
This is our home, sweetie, and nothing's gonna make us move. That's why Mommy's starting her own business. Does that scare you?
No, are you scared?
No. Are you?
No, are you?
No.
For their mother's birthday, 3 children plan the ultimate celebration.
Happy birthday!
But will her secret wish come true? An all-new Dr. Quinn Saturday.
1:43 remaining. Indiana on top, 76-67. Louisville with 2 more fouls to give before you get to the 1-and-1. They've got to stop the clock, Bill.
Well, see, when they try and do it in the backcourt, I think a referee should call it. They know what's going on. I mean, it's a coaching technique. Neither coach would be upset instead of letting the second slip. But here's a case where Denny Crum not shooting real well, not scoring, not getting in to the all-court pressure. That 5-second.
And right now, let's take it from St. Louis.
Pat O'Brien and New York going to jump in here for a minute and get you out to Charlotte. The clock is ticking down there. 80-78 is our score. Florida State leading Western Kentucky. Let's listen in to Dick and Al.
You got to extend your defense against Western because you can't give them the 3-point shot.
Timeout. Western Kentucky uses one of its 3 timeouts remaining.
With the timeout there and a 2-point game, we'll keep you up to date on that one. Let's go back to St. Louis, Indiana, Louisville. 76-67. Here's JB and Bill.
All right, Pat, and with 1:23 left in the ball game. Louisville trailing 76-67.
They need their quick hitters, JB.
Morton tries it. Rebound goes the other way.
Now they got to get their press set up. They can't relax. Get on the inbound. They're front the logical pass receivers.
With Charlotte a timeout now and a 2-point game, 21 seconds left. Let's go back to St. Louis. A minute 9 left to that game. Indiana leads 76-67. Here's JB.
And a foul here on the 4. And Louisville over the limit. So Indiana will take it to the free throw line. Well, Bill, clock management certainly is important, and we talked again at the top of the show about 2 experienced minds, and you got to assume until the clock is at 0, you can do everything possible to try to get back in it.
Yeah, Denny's dilemma, the advantage there in the free throw line, his dilemma is they're not able to get quick hitting type of offense going. Everything takes time, and they force the tough shots.
47 seconds left in the ball game, and Morton way short.
I don't know. Not necessary, really. The other thing, too, with such a deficit, think about the twos. Get the twos, get your press, get something out of that until you get in healing distance. A lot of clubs will go for the 3, thinking it'll get them right back quickly, when, in fact, you can get the 2, maybe get a steal or create a 5-second violation.
And the foul, as Cheney will take a trip to the free throw line. And if this holds up, Indiana will move to the Midwest Regional Final on Saturday and await the winner of the game coming up in the nightcap here between the number 6 seed.
Good game going on in Charlotte. 21 seconds. They resume play now. A 2-point game. Western Kentucky with the ball. Let's listen in.
Florida State, I extend my defense. Don't give him the 3-point shot under any conditions.
Fralix is not the shooter. He's looking for help, and he throws the ball away. Fralix threw the ball away. He was trying to get it to Darius Hall. And now Western calls a timeout. They'll be left with 1, but a critical turnover.
Back to St. Louis now and Indiana, Louisville, and we'll get you back to the finish for the other game.
All right, Pat, and the guy putting the finishing touches here, Calvert Cheney, who has had himself simply an outstanding game. 30 points on the evening, in Indiana up 77-67, 31 seconds left, and Minor off the mark. Rozier left to go up uncontested.
Really never got the press going, JB. Look at the speed. They also had the numbers at the other end. If Greg Graham had seen Matt Nover, but not forcing the errors that Louisville, I think, expected. Knight, once again, as with Xavier, able to get the ball with proper deployment to spots that are damaging to the opponent.
And as we look at the Cardinals again at the top of the game, Billy, many people thought this team had a shot at doing some damage against Indiana because of its rebounding prowess, and especially with a less than effective Alan Henderson. But once again, Indiana showing that it plays good team ball.
Well, the defense is something that everybody fears when you come against Indiana, but I would be concerned about them pushing the ball, forcing you back, either with the dribble or the quick pass, and stepping into good shooting areas. They're a good defensive team, a great running team, and a team that takes good shots.
Brewer shot blocked by Graham. And boy, has Graham done whatever has been needed as well.
Well,
Cheney having a little fun here with Leary.
Well, they say his personality has taken over this club. Calbert Cheney, no question about his basketball playing ability. Fouled out and had for him a fair game. He's a great looking basketball player. And they expect to be back and ready next year. Denny Crumfields is recruiting.
Great time to be a basketball fan while you're watching Indiana advance in the tournament. We're going to show you the finish of the Florida State Western Kentucky game, a 2-point game. Here's Dick and Al.
To come back down and score 3 points. Good. Let too much off the clock. Let a second and a half off the clock. That's too much time off.
Derek Harrell was fouled. Freshman from Columbia, South Carolina, but he's 2 for 2 from the line. 5.6 seconds. Western Kentucky has 1 timeout remaining. Florida State has 1 timeout left. And if you're wondering, the possession arrow favors Western Kentucky.
This is 6'7". Hope they're holding hands there. Wish your luck, guys, but this guy can shoot, this freshman.
Florida State 17 of 36 from the line. But they've been a little more successful in the overtime period.
He gets 2 shots automatically now. Remember that, because it's after the 10th personal foul. Ooh, he missed the big one.
What this means is that if he hits the free throw, Western Kentucky can still tie it with a 3-point basket.
Yeah, there's plenty of time left. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005. It'll be over.
If he had made both, it would have been 4 points, and Western would have been out of luck.
I would put one guy up.
There's the pass to Robinson, timeout, with 4 seconds to go. And that was a good play because now they will inbound from midcourt.
Good. Ralph Willard is a good coach. I hope Western can maintain him, but that guy is going to the big conferences in time. He knows how to.
All right, with a timeout there and a 3-point game, let's go back to St. Louis. Indiana, Louisville, 5 seconds on the clock. Here's James Brown.
All right, Pat, and no doubt about the outcome here as Reynolds misses the second free throw, but Indiana will pull out the victory by the score of 82-69 over Louisville, and the #1 ranked team in the country and the top seed here in the Midwest moves on to the Midwest Regional Final coming up on Saturday. So Indiana, behind the 32 points of Calbert Cheney, knocks off the 4th seed Louisville and moves ahead to Saturday's final. The Chevrolet MVPs, Calbert Cheney and Greg Minor of Louisville. So for Bill Raftery and Leslie Visser, I'm James Brown. Indiana winner as we take you back to New York and Pat O'Brien.
All right, JB, thank you very much. And so Indiana, the first team to advance to the Elite 8. And we still have 4 ticks on the clock in Charlotte. Florida State leading Western Kentucky 81-78. Western Kentucky with the ball. Here's Dick and Al.
Western Kentucky needs the 3 with 4 seconds to go. Trailing Florida State 81-78. There's the 3-point shooters. Tonight, Western is 6 for 18 with Horn 1 for 3. There is Darren Horn, who has played a marvelous game tonight. For Western Kentucky, 17 points, nearly double his season's average.
He'll kick it out and he'll kick it back to Horn. Horn will fake taking the guy down the baseline and drift back out the 3-point land and let it fly.
Western has 1 timeout remaining. And in case of a tie-up, they have the possession arrow in their favor.
Oh, I put a smaller man on Horn at half court. I put a tall man that was full court down, but half court, I put a smaller man on him.
They got Dobart at 6'9", on Horn 6'4". Fralick's the freshman, Robinson the freshman, Bunton the junior. Paul, the sophomore, along with Horn.
I play Western backwards, all of them backwards. Let them have the 2-point basket. Just no 3-point basket. You got a 3-point spread. Play everybody backwards. Everybody on Florida State should be out past the 3-point line. Here it goes back to Horn. But he stepped over the line.
And here's a 3 attempt at the buzzer.
Heartbreak hotel.
How close it was, and Florida State survives a big scare against Western Kentucky. Florida State will advance to the Southeast Regional Final and will play the winner of Kentucky and Wake Forest. Here it is again, and Fralix, the freshman, over to Button. And watch this tantalizing bounce.
Ooh, that second one was closer than the first shot.
And Western was courageous, but Florida State advances, and Pat Kennedy gets to the regional final. Lee with 21 points, the big man who had fouled out, and so did Bell. So for Al McGuire and Jim Gray, this is Dick Stockton in Charlotte. The final score, Florida State 81, Western Kentucky 78, and the Seminoles moving to Saturday's Southeast Regional Final, where they will meet the winner of the upcoming game between Wake Forest and Kentucky. Our Chevrolet players of the game are Darnell Mee, 21 points for Western Kentucky, and Rodney Dobart with 16 points and 13 boards for Florida State. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports. Stay tuned for more exciting NCAA basketball championship action. So when we see it next, Pat O'Brien will report from our studios in New York. So long, everybody.
When it came time to sell the car, I don't know why. Guess I was sort of torn. I mean, we'd been through a lot together. Still, I decided to run an ad with what I thought was a...
If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and me. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Beer.
If your company spends between $25 and $50,000 a month on long distance, MCI will give you 100 days of free long-distance calls, including 800 service, over the next 2 years. Just switch some or all of your long-distance business to MCI. To do that, just make this free phone call. But call now, before MCI comes to its senses.
Pizza Hut. Oh, great! Your other pizza. Oh, another one! Salad? Yeah, and you also get... Let me guess. Dessert. Dessert. Wow. But that...
Get 2 medium, 1-topping pizzas, a salad for 4, even cookies, dinner for 4, just $13.99. A great reason to stop and smell the pizza.
You forgot to pay me.
Shelley Long's got a marriage problem.
Nobody else ever mattered to me. None of them.
None of them?
Good advice. Premieres Friday, April 2nd.
I think they got some pizzas in there. They can send them in. Hi, everybody. Pat O'Brien along with my partner, Mike Francesa. Digger Phelps has joined us tonight. Great night of basketball, and we want to let everybody know that coming up here on CBS, 10:25 now is our tip time for California and Kansas, and 10:28 now, Wake Forest and Kentucky. So two great matchups coming up here tonight on CBS. Indiana became the first team tonight to advance to the Elite Eight. Florida State advanced as well. Right now, Leslie Visser is standing by with Bobby Knight and Calbert Chaney, I believe. And Leslie, you're on.
I am, Pat. As you said, the #1 team in the country is moving on to the regional final. Congratulations to Bob Knight and Calbert Chaney. Bob, you weren't supposed to dominate inside against such a good rebounding team. What was the difference?
Well, I think we played a lot better in the second half than we did in the first half. We gave up too many points. I told our kids at the first time out that we were going to score 160, but they might score 160. And I think the biggest difference for us was our defense was a lot better in the second half, and Matt Nover did a great job for us inside.
Denny Crum says what makes Indiana special is that you do it at both ends of the floor. I know happy is a relative term, but were you pleased?
Well, yeah, I had to be pretty pleased with everything except our start in the second half. You know, we've got a 7-point lead, and we'd like to put a little pressure on them by getting into double digits, but we just didn't.
Well, this has to be one of the reasons that you're pleased. The Player of the Year, and I think Calvert a privilege to watch. What were you able to do against Louisville's defense?
We knew that they were very big. They have very good athletes, and all coach wanted to do is drive them, and on their press just run down or just get down the floor and run. And I think that was to our benefit.
Well, you probably aren't going to like this question, but you can pick your poison. Would you rather face Cal or Kansas, and how's the matchup differ?
Doesn't make any difference. You know, we're just out here to just win a tournament, and that's our only objective.
Well, so far, so good. Do you have any thoughts, Bobby, on whether you'd rather face Cal or Kansas?
I'm just glad we're playing. We at least know we're going to play, and we're pleased with that.
Great. Thank you both. Back to you, Pat.
All right, Leslie, thank you. Good job out there. And what about, how about this without Alan Henderson, who really made a cameo appearance, if anything?
Played 7 first half minutes. It's amazing what he's been able to do without Alan Henderson and keep this team going as consistent.